In a small, picturesque town nestled between rolling hills, there lived a man named David. He was known throughout the community as a wise and thoughtful individual, and he had a saying that he repeated often: "Your time is limited, don't waste it." These words were etched into his heart, and he lived by them every day. David had a simple, yet profound philosophy of life. He believed that time was the most precious resource one could possess, and it was finite. Each day was a gift, a chance to create, learn, and make a difference. He approached life with a sense of purpose, always mindful of how he spent his time. From a young age, David had a deep appreciation for the beauty of nature. He lived in a house on the edge of the town, surrounded by lush forests and meadows. Every morning, he would step onto his porch, breathe in the fresh, crisp air, and watch the sun rise over the hills. It was a ritual that reminded him of the fleeting nature of time. One spring morning, as David stood on his porch, he noticed a group of children playing in a nearby meadow. Their laughter filled the air as they chased each other, picking wildflowers and weaving daisy chains. It was a scene of pure joy and innocence, a reminder of the simple pleasures of life. David couldn't help but smile as he watched the children. He knew that these carefree moments were the essence of a life well lived. He decided to approach the children and strike up a conversation. They spoke about the beauty of the meadow, the songs of the birds, and the adventures they dreamed of having. In the midst of their conversation, David shared his favorite saying: "Your time is limited, don't waste it." The children listened attentively, and one of them, a bright-eyed girl named Emily, asked, "What does that mean?" David explained to the children that time was like a river that flowed inexorably forward. It could not be stopped, paused, or reversed. The only power people had was to decide how to use their time. He spoke of the importance of making the most of each day, pursuing dreams, and cherishing every moment. The children's curiosity was piqued, and they asked David how he spent his time. He shared stories of his travels, his passion for painting, and the countless books he had read. He spoke of the people he had met and the lessons he had learned. He emphasized that life was an incredible adventure waiting to be embraced. Emily, in particular, was deeply inspired by David's words. She felt a spark of excitement within her, a desire to make the most of her time. She shared her dream of becoming a botanist, exploring the natural world, and preserving its beauty for future generations. David encouraged her to follow her passion, reminding her that time was on her side. As the years passed, Emily did just that. She pursued her dream of studying botany and became a renowned scientist in her field. She traveled to remote corners of the world, discovering rare plant species and advocating for environmental conservation. She often remembered David's words and the profound impact they had on her. David's porch became a gathering place for people seeking wisdom and inspiration. He continued to impart his philosophy of making the most of one's limited time. He believed that the true measure of a person's life was not in the number of years they lived but in the depth of their experiences and the positive influence they had on others. One summer, David found himself at the local community center, speaking to a group of teenagers about the importance of time. He told them that life was like a canvas, and each day was a brushstroke. It was up to them to create a masterpiece with the time they had. He encouraged them to set goals, chase dreams, and embrace every opportunity. One of the teenagers, a young boy named Michael, approached David after the talk. He expressed his desire to become a writer and share stories that would inspire others. David encouraged Michael to start writing immediately, reminding him that there was no better time than the present. David and Michael formed a special bond. They met regularly, and David shared his own experiences as a writer. He introduced Michael to the world of literature and provided guidance on honing his craft. Under David's mentorship, Michael's writing flourished, and he eventually published a book that touched the hearts of many. David's influence extended beyond the town as well. His talks and writings on the value of time reached a global audience, inspiring people to reflect on their lives and make the most of their limited time. He received countless letters from individuals who had been moved by his message. In his later years, as David sat on his porch, reflecting on a life well lived, he knew that he had made the most of his limited time. He had inspired countless people to cherish each day, follow their dreams, and make a positive impact on the world. He had left a legacy of wisdom and inspiration, proving that the true value of time lay in how it was spent. One day, as the sun dipped below the hills and the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, David quietly passed away. His words, "Your time is limited, don't waste it," continued to resonate in the hearts of those who had been touched by his wisdom. The town of Willowbrook, where David had lived, mourned his passing but celebrated his legacy. The community decided to honor David's memory by creating a beautiful garden in the meadow where he had first spoken to the children about the value of time. The garden was a serene sanctuary, filled with vibrant flowers, serene paths, and a quiet reflecting pool. A stone monument with his saying, "Your time is limited, don't waste it," stood at the entrance, a reminder to all who visited. Emily, the young girl who had been inspired by David's words, became the caretaker of the garden. She saw it as a way to pay tribute to the man who had helped shape her dreams. The garden flourished, becoming a place where people could come to reflect, find inspiration, and connect with the beauty of the natural world. David's influence continued to spread as his writings and talks were compiled into a book. It became a bestseller, reaching people far and wide. The book served as a guide for those seeking to live a life in harmony with David's philosophy. His timeless message of making the most of one's limited time resonated with readers of all ages and backgrounds. Michael, the young writer David had mentored, went on to write a heartfelt biography of his mentor. He shared the lessons he had learned from David and the impact it had on his own life. The biography celebrated the wisdom, kindness, and enduring legacy of the man who had touched so many hearts. Over the years, the town of Willowbrook continued to hold gatherings in David's memory, celebrating the anniversary of his passing. It became a tradition to share stories of how his words had influenced their lives, inspiring them to chase their dreams, embrace each day, and make a difference in the world. David's philosophy, "Your time is limited, don't waste it," had not only been his guiding principle but had become a guiding light for an entire community and beyond. His life was a testament to the idea that time was a precious gift, a finite resource that should be treasured and used wisely. He had left a legacy of inspiration, reminding people that they held the power to create their own meaningful and purposeful lives. In the end, David's time had been limited, but the impact he made with his words and his way of living was immeasurable. His story was a reminder to all that life was a precious gift, and it was up to each individual to make the most of the time they had, leaving a legacy of wisdom, inspiration, and positive change for generations to come.